Bad parents on paternity court.
Literally called and stated to my son that I am? No, that ain't working. We're gonna prove this.
You are the example to those little girls as to what a man should act like, how a man should talk to them, and how a man should treat them.
Miss Hauser's plea echoes in the air. Her ex-husband's sudden departure and her son's mysterious ailments hang in the balance. DNA's role in a life-altering condition remains shrouded, and a fervent search for answers takes center stage.
Mr. Campbell and I met when I was a junior and he was a senior in high school. And what ended up happening was mid to late July, early August, I became pregnant. We discussed it and we figured out to get married. Mr. Campbell's father hated me, absolutely could not abide me.
First things first, turns out that Dennis R. Campbell's name was on the birth certificate, but the alleged father was stuck with military obligations at the time. The judge's inquiries reveal surprising revelations. A marriage amid doubts, a teenage romance teetering on the edge.
Dennis R. Campbell is listed as father.
Yes, but I didn't list me on there. I was in basic training. I had no idea.
You don't remember receiving an acknowledgement or anything to sign?
No, ma'am.
But at that time, you all were married?
Yes,
So the
ma'am.
child was born within the marriage?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
As soon as when you married her, that this wasn't your child?
Yes, ma'am.
After this, Judge Lake delves into the timeline of the marriage and the subsequent breakdown. The court scene is set with revelations of living arrangements that raise eyebrows. The mobile home becomes an unexpected setting for a story that twists and turns, leading to a heart-wrenching separation.
And then when Michael was 4 months old, I moved into a mobile home court with a boyfriend and a girlfriend and one of their friends and Michael and I. It was a 3-bedroom. There was nothing going on between any of us. It was just cheaper to live that way. Mr. Campbell came to see me because he was in the Army. He was on the base all the time.
Ms. Hauser reveals the heartbreaking challenges her son faced from a young age, a poignant story of resilience against the odds. The emotional toll on the family is palpable as she details Michael's medical struggles and her financial strain. Amidst the backdrop of these difficulties, the absence of support from Mr. Campbell stands out starkly.
As he got older, we noticed something wasn't right. He ended up having a rare form of epilepsy on top of it. So we're dealing with that. And then when he turned 12, he had the first diagnosis of manic depression.
I can imagine this has been taxing. I mean, literally,
Financially.
emotionally, and you've been through a lot.
The paternity court takes an unexpected turn as the DNA results are unveiled. Miss Hauser's certainty crumbles in the face of the truth, leaving her stunned. The emotional intensity in the courtroom is palpable as the implications of the results unfold.
Mr. Campbell, you are not the father.
Oh my.
You were so certain that there was no other person
Yeah.
that you had entertained because you had been completely faithful to him. That just is not true. The DNA has
Yeah, I have
spoken.
no clue.
Miss Lewis faces an unexpected crisis, confronting her own father in court to prove her very identity. What kind of bad parents make their daughter come to this stage? The suspense thickens as emotions run high, and the audience is left to wonder what drove this family to such a dramatic moment.
So your grandmother tried to reassure you.
Yes.
The man you believe to be your biological father just basically came out and said one day, I'm not your father.
Yes, Your Honor.
You're about 13 years old. And up until this point, you were daddy's little girl.
Yes. We started going to visit him every summer up until the one summer when I was told that he wasn't my dad.
As the pieces of this complex puzzle come together, the tension between Mr. Palmer and Miss Lewis escalates, and their perspectives clash. Miss Lewis courageously stands her ground, revealing a poignant detail that could potentially shatter her identity. The courtroom buzzes with anticipation as the judge tries to untangle the truth from a web of emotions.
Well, you're saying, Mr. Palmer, you saw her with this old friend, and it was a man.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Lewis is saying, is her mother admitted to that I did ask this man to take me because I wanted to go see my mother because she was dying, but I was already pregnant with Miss Lewis, with Margaret, before that happened. But what you thought in that moment was she was sleeping with this other gentleman as well.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Palmer's wartime service adds an unexpected layer to the narrative. As the judge unravels the chronology, the audience is on the edge of their seats. The revelation about Miss Lewis's birth date has everyone's attention, building suspense as the truth inches closer to the surface.
You say you left to go to war.
In May of 68.
May of 68, let me first say thank you for your service. Then you say you returned 9 or 10 months later. Ms. Lewis was born September 6, 1969.
Yeah, I was drafted to Vietnam in May of 68, and she was born.
Tensions soar as Mr. Williams, Miss Lewis's brother, takes the stand. He provides his perspective on the situation, which intensifies the drama. The audience holds its collective breath, eager to hear more about the family dynamics that could shed light on the truth.
Mr. Williams, how are you related to Ms. Lewis?
Her brother.
You are her brother.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe Mr. Palmer is Ms. Lewis's biological father?
Yes, ma'am, I do. I was there. I was there when he told her that he was not her father, but I believe that.
Oh, you were there on that day at the farm?
Yes, ma'am, I was. Yes, Your Honor.
In an emotionally charged moment, Miss Lewis passionately declares her belief that Mr. Palmer is her father, regardless of his earlier denial. Her brother, Mr. Williams, stands by her side, offering reassurance. The atmosphere is heavy with feelings of reconciliation and acceptance. The court listens attentively as the family's complicated dynamics come to light.
We've just became into a relationship these last 4 or 5 years because I moved back home.
Okay.
And I did that because my dad was sick, and I came back and I wanted to make sure my kids knew who he was, and he knew who they was.
The audience is captivated by the unfolding narrative of family bonds being mended and long-lost connections being rekindled. With tension mounting, the court's decision arrives for 46-year-old Margaret Lewis. Applause erupts as emotions peak. Mr. Palmer's reflections add a layer of depth to the scene, providing closure and healing.
Mr. Palmer, you are her father.
I told you.
Miss Hadel confronts ex-partner Mr. Andrews to prove he's the father of their 1-year-old daughter, Amarella. Their tumultuous 8-year relationship ended due to paternity doubts, fueled by alleged cheating. As emotions run high, the truth takes center stage.
We have had a rough road throughout these 7.5 years. 9 months into our relationship, he impregnated another female while he was living with me. So I moved to Kansas and got away from him, started our relationship back, and I had planned on having another child with him.
Tensions rise as Hadel and Andrews navigate their stormy past. Trust was non-existent, resulting in extreme measures. The baby mama shared an astonishing tale of jumping out a window to escape Andrew's barricade. But the courtroom's focus narrows down to their daughter's paternity.
Maurice and I were not on that term of trust, so there was no trust. I didn't trust him, he didn't trust me.
I get that you all were in a bad place in your relationship, but what does trust have to do with you playing Wonder Woman and jumping out the window?
I couldn't walk out my front door because he was barricading my front door.
Where were you going?
I was going to find comfort.
Denying the encounter, Miss Hadel vehemently opposes Mr. Andrews' claim, even as condoms come into play. Their chaotic relationship history adds to the suspense, with allegations of other potential fathers emerging. Tensions simmer as Miss Hadel and Mr. Andrews exchange fiery words.
Did you have sex with a guy in the car?
Yes.
No, he found condoms in the car. Like I said, they were in a wrapper. They haven't been used, and if he's saying he's found a used wrapper or dirty, I did not see that, and I don't know how it got there.
A couple times.
4 months ago, Miss Hadel told me about 2 other potential fathers.
Correct.
Really?
And I didn't like where all of this was going. That's why Judge Lake stepped in, calling for a much-needed break while urging the quarreling duo to hydrate and reflect on their behavior. The courtroom erupts in laughter as she playfully chides their bickering, pointing out their responsibilities as parents amid the chaos.
You all sound like you're like 16 years old.
Trust me, I know.
Arguing back and forth, and you got these little beautiful children. And from what I'm saying, I don't even know how you have time to make babies because you don't stop talking.
Miss Hadel and Mr. Andrews clash over accusations and denials. Miss Hadel vehemently asserts that the friend in question was never a romantic interest, while Mr. Andrews insists otherwise. Amidst the courtroom drama, Judge Lake tries to make sense of their conflicting stories, highlighting the emotional roller coaster the two are trapped in.
This is a friend I've never been sexual with, and he is talking about a friend being at my home.
Who you said was Amarella's father. It's a man
I've never been
who you
sexual
know
with
I
this
had
person.
contact with. They had physical contact with over this situation.
Because he's delusional.
And then as soon as I
He thinks I've
leave,
been
you
sexual
had
with
this
this
man
person.
at the house where I just left from.
Then, the dramatic reveal leaves everyone speechless. Emotions run high as Amarella's fate is sealed. But even in this moment of resolution, Judge Lake takes the opportunity to offer a pointed lesson about communication, underscoring the importance of speaking honestly and from the heart.
Mr. Andrews, you are the father. You have tears in your eyes. How do you feel in this moment?
I love her regardless. It's my daughter's sister, so it didn't make me no difference if I was or wasn't. I just wanted to prove.
Oh, it didn't?
Yes, it did.
A gripping episode of Paternity Court unfolds as Miss Holsinger demands truth and responsibility. Abandonment accusations and contested paternity fuel the tension, with shocking revelations about signed birth certificates and disputed fatherhood. The verdict on Gabriel's future hangs in the balance, leaving the audience on the edge of their seats, judging these bad parents.
I met him off the chat line. I was lonely, so I decided to call and try to basically find something to do.
Yeah, she found something to do, and we end up messing around too fast. You know what I mean? Too fast.
Right, that's what I don't understand about these chat lines, Ron.
As the drama intensifies, a startling revelation emerges. Miss Holsinger confesses to hiding behind her own refrigerator to avoid the defendant. Their turbulent history, tangled with a past relationship and messages on a phone, adds intrigue. With emotions high and doubts looming, Paternity Court dives into the depths of this complex case.
Were you hiding behind the refrigerator, Miss Holsinger?
Yes, ma'am, I was, because
in your own house?
Yes, ma'am, because this man would
What
not
was
leave
she
me
hiding
alone,
for?
and I did
Why
not
was
want to
she
deal with
hiding?
him, and he would just pop up all the time, and I just didn't want to. I didn't want to deal with that.
Who is this guy?
And at the time, she's pregnant.
It's a guy that I used to mess with, and I had cut it off with him.
The courtroom crackles with tension as Miss Holsinger confronts Mr. May, pleading for him to step up as a father to their child Gabriel. A poignant photo of Mr. May with a baby is unveiled, hinting at a deeper connection. Raw emotions unravel as past mistakes are aired, revealing a complex web of blame and guilt. Judge Lake steps in to mediate the charged exchange.
Mr. May with little beautiful baby, Gabriel. I don't see a lot of doubt in this photo.
Cause it ain't, cause he know that baby is his, Your Honor. And it's really hurting me that he's not stepping up to be a man. My son needs his father, and it hurts me. And, and I know I'm part of the blame because I know I wasn't in a relationship with him.
A dramatic revelation surfaces as Mr. May asserts that he, too, could potentially be the father of Gabriel, citing Miss Holsinger's earlier uncertainty about paternity. Judge Lake drills down to the truth, challenging the unwavering testimonies. The tense exchange reaches a climax, culminating in a calendar that holds the key to resolving the paternity dispute.
Because he told you that.
Yeah.
Did you tell someone else they could possibly be the father, Miss Holsinger?
No, I didn't, but I also told him, I wasn't sure.
You're wavering. No, that's not what you just said. That's not what you testified to earlier. There was an issue with regard to who the biological father was of this child?
Yes, Your Honor.
The courtroom tension escalates as Judge Lake questions the perplexing situation. The dynamics of dropping off and picking up their child become a focal point, leading to revelations about Gabriel's limited time with Mr. May. The atmosphere becomes charged with emotional uncertainty, and the complexities of their strained interactions come to the forefront.
But you had dropped the baby off over there. How is he gonna leave you alone and he has the baby?
I dropped the baby off, and it was over to me.
When's the last time you saw Gabriel?
Since I actually, held him, and
yes,
it's been a long.
So Miss Holsinger, has this other guy seen Gabriel?
Yeah, because he barged in one day.
The courtroom brims with anticipation as Judge Lake's announcement looms. Unraveling the web of confusion, the truth is finally unveiled about young Gabriel's paternity. Tensions rise as the verdict hangs in the air, keeping both parties and the audience on edge. The judge delivers the verdict that transforms the room's atmosphere. met with applause and a sense of resolution.
Mr. May, you are the father. Good news.
Yes, ma'am.
Great.
He has a great father.
Listen, it's amazing when I think about you all saying you just were feeling lonely and didn't know what to do with yourself, so you just called a chat line.